right, you bastards. Hey, everyone, how's it going? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United. Come on, my son. Get in there, my son. How's it going, everybody? Absolutely buzzing after that one because United have somehow just beaten Juventus away in the Champions League there. We've nicked it at the end there. It was like a mini 99 Champions League final. You know, we were on the ropes, but at the end, we've come back and we've rope-a-doped them and we've knocked them out, mate. That's what happened. We haven't actually knocked them out of the competition, but we won the game. We came back into it. And it was just absolutely incredible. What an incredible finish to the game that was. Just absolutely buzzing about that one. I mean, the performance from the team today had, you know, a bit of guile to it, bit of good defensive spirit. But not only that, you know, we were prepared to try and hit them on the counter. We're always going to have to play like that with against Juventus away from home. They dominate possession, defensively very, very sound. They play a very patient game of football. First half, let's be honest now, they dominated us. It was all Juventus. They passed it around very nicely. Yeah, we had a couple of little half chances here and there on the counter. But other than that, Juventus, you know, they showed why they are one of the best European teams around at the moment. So good. You know, second half performance from Manchester United, I think, was a lot better, even though the first half performance was pretty decent, you know, but the second half performance, yeah, we went 1-0 down. Shame that Lindelof was beaten by that ball over the top for Ronaldo, but Ronaldo, what a finish. You have to say, I just want to talk about Ronaldo for a second. That finish was incredible. This man just continues to impress. He may be aging, he may be changing sides, whatever it is, he's still one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. He showed that tonight. The one real opportunity he got there, he just stuck it in the back of the net so easily. Great finish. I mean, you don't really stop those. Yes, you can argue maybe the ball shouldn't be coming over and he shouldn't be beating our defenders so easily. But you have to say that finish was absolutely incredible. But in the end, it counted for nothing because we battered them in the end. Okay, we didn't batter them, but last 5 minutes we battered them. Paul Pogba had a good second half. First half wasn't very good from him, in my opinion, but I thought the second half he did impress me a little bit just with some of the nice passes he was playing. Didn't blow me away, but decent performance from him. The catalyst for Manchester United really was Jose Mourinho's substitution decisions because, you know, the two key decisions that he made and changed the game, you know, is what won Manchester United the game today. So he's brought Mata on, of course, and he's brought Fellaini on. Now the Mata decision, I wanted to see Juan Mata starting the game, you know, from the start of the game tonight, but wasn't to be. Jose had other ideas, but he's brought him on there, and he showed that class. Last 5 minutes of the game, we've won a free kick in a very dangerous area. I'm crying for Juan Mata to take it because, you know, he's so good with free kicks. If you look at his ratio of free kicks, he's right up there with some of the best free kick takers in the world. He bangs them in on a consistent basis. And he placed it so beautifully like he always does. It was a fantastic finish from him. Fantastic free kick. And that got United back in the game. And I would have been happy there, to be honest. Because like I say, they did sort of dominate, play a little bit throughout the game. United showed good defensive spirit, good organisation, generally some really good performances in there from our defenders as well. The likes of Lindelof, apart from maybe the goal. Smalling, you know, generally, Luke Shaw, generally a really good, solid defensive performance from us, considering we are away in Turin. We are playing Juventus, who are one of the best sides. We've got the best player in the world up front, with some of the other best players in the world around him. And considering all those things, I think we did a good job of handling Juventus and also giving ourselves a chance of actually winning the game. It was a Jose Mourinho masterclass. This is what it's about, you know. We didn't play beautifully. We didn't dominate Juventus. We didn't attack them off the park. But we did manage to win the game because we were always in the game. Juventus, you know, they played their football. We sort of allowed them to play their football, although we were pressing much higher up the pitch, which is what I would like to see. And we were hitting them quite swiftly on the counter when we did get there. It's true, though, the last 5 minutes of the game, you know, were our best spell. We didn't really do a whole lot in terms of creating things up until then, really. But the substitutions were the reason that Manchester United were able to turn this game around. They had a key impact. You know, Juan Mata with that incredible free kick. And then Marouane Fellaini, the ball's coming over the top right at the end of the game there. And it was just an unfortunate series of events if you're a Juventus fan. Because it's almost laughable when it went in the back of the net. Usually I scream and go, yes, when we score a goal. I was just laughing my tits off, man. Because it was so funny just how it managed to find its way in the back of the net. And so awesome at the same time. It's gone down as an OG, I believe, in the end. But I think Fellaini got that beautiful little afro on it. Just a little bit, just grazed it enough to take it in there. So Oh, I mean, it's nice that United have managed to get on a little bit of form right at the moment. I think Jose has maybe relieved quite a lot of the pressure that was on him with some of the results that we've been getting and some of the performances as well. Like tonight, okay, we weren't like the United of old where we go there and we're one of the most feared teams in Europe. Nobody really fears us anymore because we don't, have such a great team. We don't have that fear factor that causes the opposition, to lose the game beforehand. We don't have that anymore. So teams actually think that they can beat us. And Juventus certainly did tonight, but it didn't matter in the end because we were able to just get right back into it. Come on, my son! Let me know what you guys think about it. Do get involved in the comment section. I'll be sticking around here for a little while just to give you my thoughts and opinions, and I'll read all your thoughts and opinions out. If you're tuning in right now, do us a favor, chuck us a like on this video, and let me know your thoughts. I'm going to get deep into your comments now, but generally I think the performance from United was good. And in the end, we've somehow managed to get the result. Just scrambled it over the line there. But that free kick from Juan Mata was excellent. And it did just look like Juventus went off the boil. They almost got too comfortable. They were way too comfortable. And they sort of allowed pressure onto themselves from us, which they didn't do for, the first 75 minutes of the game. But the last part of the game, they just allowed us onto them a little bit. And we took full advantage of that. Everybody who's tuning in, you're a bunch of legends. I'll get to your comments now. Jack comments, Rashford needs to be smarter when it comes to one-on-one with the keeper. He's got a lot to learn. He's a young lad. He looked reasonably lively, when he's come on. But personally, I want to see a bit more from him. I mean, Lukaku's obviously injured, not playing tonight. There's an opportunity for Rashford at the moment to stake a claim in the side and come in there and be that great finisher and that real dangerous player that we know he can be. He's got youth on his side. That's the thing with Rashford, He's a baby-faced assassin. He could be the new Ollie Gunner. Scrack comments and says the video quality looks better today, Pig. Well, that's good. Yeah, I've got just a little bit of light and stuff. Oh, check out this little hair poking through there. That's not good. Paolo Breeze comments, Fergie time, loving it. Yeah, it was just one of those classic Manchester United smash and grab games. We've always been that side that you can never really count out. Maybe not so much over the last couple of seasons, of course. But we definitely have always got that fighting spirit, never say die. Over history, anyway. Not over the last couple of seasons, but throughout history, as I said, the 99 Champions League final, that sums it up. Down and out. Second best to Bayern, but we still come back at the end of the game and manage to score 2 goals and nick it. And that's exactly what we did today against a really good Juventus side. Let's not forget just how good Juventus are and the fact that they're at home and the performance that they put in against us at Old Trafford. You've got to take all of these things into account. They're a top side. So just the fact that we've managed to win the game, by any which way we could is an amazing achievement, let alone the fact that we did show quite a good display in terms of defending and also just keeping that team spirit and that belief that we could go on and actually win the game. If the players believe, the fans believe, then anything can happen. That was a cliche cheeseball moment, wasn't it? Ziggy Pop, let's get it, mate. Alex, Mata is a better free kick taker than Ronaldo. I'm going to agree with you, mate. Juan Mata is always consistent. He always delivers. It's a totally different type of free kick. It's a more elegant, slower placed free kick. Whereas Ronaldo, he's got that whole knuckleball thing. It's intensity, it's power. But in terms of actual conversion ratios, I think Juan Mata would absolutely wipe the floor with Ronaldo if you're looking at stats. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but it just seems like half the time Juan Mata gets a free kick, he sticks it in the back of the net. Literally half the time. Adam Blanche comments and says, got to give Jose credit. Mata and the tree changed the game for us. That's why I've entitled this video Mourinho Masterclass, because that's exactly what it was. Like I said at the top of the video, they've dominated the game really, but we were able to do enough defensively to keep us in the game and also be dangerous enough on the counter. And his actual substitutions are the reason that's got us over the line in the end, the reason that's got us back in the game, but not just back in the game, on to win the game. Both of his substitutions that he's made. I was doing like most people probably do when Big Marouane comes off the pitch with that crazy planet-sized head of his. I was thinking, oh, this is it, is it? This is what the option is it? Fellaini, stick the tree on, kick long balls up to the tree. But you know what? It's pretty effective. Jose Mourinho seems to get the best out of him in whatever system he puts him in there. I think Fellaini's best spell as a player, at least at Manchester United, has been under Jose Mourinho. I don't think you could really debate that. So, yeah, I think his substitutions had a massive bearing on the end result of the game. The general way we set up, I think, although you've got to admit that it was defensive, you have to respect Juventus. You don't just want to go gung-ho against Juventus. Mourinho knows this, especially away in Turin. Very tough place to go, very tough opponents and game in general. And just for us to manage to keep ourselves in it, defending well, pressing higher, attacking, when we could on the counter. And in the end, we showed that little bit of spirit that we needed just to take the game to them for the last sort of 10 minutes of the game. And that's the thing, everyone was saying Juventus are going to batter us tonight. I wasn't feeling too optimistic about it going in, but I still thought, this is Manchester United, this is a European night. We've got something to prove. They've come to Old Trafford and they've turned us over last time. Or maybe not turned us over, but they've dominated us 1-0. It was a very comfortable professional performance from them, and they didn't really have any trouble from us in that game at all at Old Trafford. But in this fixture, even though, they sort of outplayed us at times with their nice passing and they kept all the ball possession and that sort of stuff, we were always in it. We were always defensively sound, and we always looked like maybe we could just make something happen on the counter or the set piece or something like that. And in the end, that's just what happened. Ellis Belasco comments, Pig admit Pogba was absolute shit today, though. I admit first half I thought he was absolutely dog turd shite. Classic log performance, just in there playing like a bit of tree bark next to Tree Laney. Very woody sort of feeling about it. But no, actually, he was good in the second half. Not fantastic, but dangerous at times. Played a couple of nice positive passes through, nice through balls. But yeah, come on, man. Out of everybody in the side today, who's not really performed? I talk about Pogba a lot. I mentioned him earlier. He's one of the only players I've mentioned in this video individually. It's because there's a lot of expectation from him. You expect him to do something good, especially coming up against Juventus' old side. You want to see that fire in the belly. But at times today, especially in the first half, it did strike me like he just doesn't really feel comfortable in whatever system we're playing right now. It's not really his forte. He doesn't quite know what to do. What Jose Mourinho is asking him to do, he is not really, a model. Because there's times when maybe even when he gives the ball away, where he should be making backtracking runs and getting, into defensive positions more and stuff like that. And he just seems to neglect that side of the game a little bit. I know he is an attacking talent, and I probably, would like to see him allowed to flourish a little bit more, maybe played a bit further up and with a bit more of a free role. But at the end of the day, Jose is the manager. Jose is the one who's managed to get this team beating Juventus tonight, whichever way you look at it. So I think he knows what's best for the team, and Paul Pogba has to adapt to that system. I think he is doing it. I think he's been a bit better of late, but again, he doesn't blow me away. He doesn't look like one of the most expensive players out there. One of the Pogba. Do I think he'll ever really be that player? Whether it's a Scalzi or a Keno or one of those iconic Manchester United players who's just so consistently good. I don't really think I will ever see that, because I just don't think he's necessarily the right fit for Manchester United. Whatever you want to say, we've seen him play amazing for other clubs, Juventus being one of them, in France. Why can he not really recapture that amazing form that he showed, that consistency, that world beater ability at Manchester United? It's an occasional thing. It's not like it's not there. We do see it from time to time. It's an occasional thing. But yeah, I will say that he was absolutely shit first half, but second half I think he was a lot better anyway. But yeah, I want to see more from you, Paul. Paolo Breeze comments and says Rashford should start against Man City this Sunday. I'm totally with you, man. I want to see him do that. He's definitely been dangerous in the past for us in those big games, especially when he first burst on the scene. I want to see that same sort of mentality from him, that carefree, go for it mentality, because maybe it was a different situation. There was less pressure on the side right at that time because we weren't doing so well. And it was even more closer to the transition of losing Fergie, etc. So Maybe there was a bit less pressure, and he was so free because he was just gifted this opportunity basically out of necessity from injuries by Louis van Gaal. And he's gone in there and he's played so freely, like he didn't have any pressure on it. I think he's feeling the pressure a little bit more. You can see it sometimes in his face. He's not playing with that same, I would say, happiness or freedom that he used to, and that's something you have to adapt to as a professional, because it does get more intense. It does get more of the pressure cooker the older you get, because people expect more for you, and your potential is, if it's not being fulfilled, up until this point, then, he's got to ask himself some questions. He's not doing it like he was when he was a younger man, yet he's older and more experienced. Why is that? So, but the fact is, he's still a great player. He still does it sometimes. I just want to see him bring that consistency into the game, be very dangerous. But come on, if he started against Man City, if you give him these opportunities, maybe he will just grasp the chance and score a late winner or something like that. Sukrishnalal Pasha, hope I said that right, thanks very much for tuning in, said the substitutions worked. They did work. Jose's done that a couple of times recently where he has been able to change the game with his good substitutions. Criticise him however you want, criticise the style of play, but those substitutions tonight worked out very well in our favour, didn't they? We were able to win the game because of them. Those are a couple of huge subs. He saw that maybe Lingard wasn't being very effective, so he's taken him off. He's brought Mata on. I thought Mata would be better suited to this game anyway, just because I believe he's more technically gifted and can thread those balls through. And, for things like set pieces, he's a very dangerous player. But in the end, it's all come good. Great substitutions by Jose. Maximilian7 comments. How's it going, Maximilian? He says, hey, Pig, good win, but Jose was absolutely classless at the end with that can't hear you gesture. Not what United is about. Do you know what? I missed that. I'm going to be honest. I missed that because I just turned it off straight away and, came to do my video. I've actually missed that. So what you're saying, he's like doing that to the fans, like giving it the old macho man Randy Savage, is he? That's what he's doing? I like that. No, I haven't seen it. I can't really comment on it. But, they're probably giving him a lot of stick, weren't they? A lot of stick in the build-up, a lot of stick in the stadium. A lot of stick to United in general, thinking they were going to beat us, and they didn't. We did them in the end there. So, we're even with them in terms of the group stage fixtures. They've won one, we've won them 1-1. They won away at Old Trafford, and we've won away in Turin. So it's an amazing result for us in the end there. I'd be giving it the old Randy Savage too if it was up to me. The Master says, hey, Pig, how's it going? Thanks very much for tuning in. Callum, we've got a City scummer in here, says we will crush you in the derby. Of course, we've got the derby coming up next. You know what? We've had some good form recently. We had a really bad spell at the start of the season, but we've been catching up a little bit recently now, Managed to nick the win in the end against Bournemouth. Okay, they could have been a few up or scored a few goals in that game, which they didn't. But we won the game in the end. That's all that really counts. And again, the same thing you could say tonight. So I personally think that Jose's doing well at the moment. He's turning it around a little bit. If we could get the win in the derby, that basically fixes everything, doesn't it? It basically gets us right back on track. Yeah, we're still a bunch of points behind, but we're still right up there challenging. We've seen other teams drop points recently. Arsenal, Liverpool drew. And there's teams above us, Spurs, we could easily catch 4 points, and I think they are. Yeah, the big boys, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, they're quite far ahead of us at the moment. But the only way we're going to close that gap, the only way we're going to catch them is to get a result in a game like this big Manchester derby against City. Because, and I think, let's be honest now, even though we've been on a good run and confidence is going to be pretty high compared to how it was earlier in the season right now, and just confidence in the general play and system and what the players are doing, I still think that City are just very strong at the moment. They're so strong. They're unbeaten this season. We've lost 3 games in the Premier League this season. We're not anywhere near consistent enough. They've got this great plan A, whereas we've got this plan A, this plan B, this plan C, and none of them are that great. So, but it's another one tonight, actually. It's funny, isn't it? Second half performances from United have been pretty good recently. Not first half performances. We seem to turn it on the second half. We seem to have to go behind, or we seem to have to get partially dominated by a side before we're prepared to actually start playing some football. So I think, Jose's obviously setting the team up, but I think that's how we should approach games from the start. It's easier said than done, though. Maybe they are trying to do that. It just takes time for them to settle into the game, work out the opposition. All that sort of stuff are factors that you have to take into consideration. Gazamania says, Mr. Bean nearly got into a scrap, did he? Crikey. So you're telling me he did some gesture and some people didn't like that too much, so it's kicked off. I missed that. I'm going to have to check that out. Thomas Wolf comments, Jackson 5 reunion next. Here we go. Marwan Fellaini in the house. We got a super chat here from James Arnold. Thanks, James, for stopping by. He says, great result. Let's build on this. It was a great result. I mean, come on, you can't be much happier than that, other than if we went there and tore them apart and won 4-0. But that was never really going to happen because Juventus are a top side. They are in great form. They do have great players. They do have the best player in the world. You know, there's a lot of things in their favour at the moment, whereas United, a little bit more inconsistent, a lot more inconsistent, you know, not dominating domestically. Definitely down there a little bit. Confidence lower. So all those things considered, it's an amazing result to go over there and just end the game with a little flurry at the end there, score 2 goals, break their hearts, and leave with the 3 points, which also, let's be honest now, it makes our Champions League qualification to progress out of the group stage much more likely, much easier now. We've got to play young boys again. You know, he battered them first time around. I'm expecting we win that game comfortably. So that would basically qualify us, wouldn't it? That qualifies us. So that's just another thing that's great for us. And you know, in terms of the Champions League, we all know about the Premier League campaign, probably maybe just already, I know there's only 9 points away, but already with the way how consistent the teams are and the way they're playing, already somewhat away from us. You know, it's going to be very difficult for us to challenge for the Premier League trophy this season. But a Jose Mourinho side in the Champions League with maybe not as much to play for in the Premier League because we can't necessarily win it. You know, obviously we need to get top 4 and be in it next season. But Jose is a great cup manager. He's a great manager who can work out and win individual games. He showed that tonight, actually. But, you know, he did it in that Europa League campaign with us when he's won us the Europa League. I know it's not to the same level, and we're competing with the best teams around Europe, which I'm not sure you can really say we are right now. But anything can happen in cup football. Do you remember that shite Chelsea side that won the Champions League, man? Just defended. Actually, that was majestic, I have to say. You know, there's more ways than one to skin a cat, and they were defensively amazing. Yes, some things went their way, but they went on to win it. That could happen for Manchester United. We're still in it. If you're in it, you can win it. And as long as we progress out of the group stage, you know, we've got a chance at doing that, at least hopefully getting further on. I'm sort of laughing as I'm saying that based on the shite season that we've had, you know, or the first half of this part of the season that was shite. We've done reasonably well recently. I think Josie deserves credit. I think the players deserve credit. A lot of them have turned it round. I'm talking about Anthony Martial, who's been in great form recently, especially in the Premier League, scoring lots of goals for us in big moments, big games. And then even players like Pogba, I think, has stepped up a little bit recently. After there was that whole training ground bust up with Jose Mourinho, after that, he seems to have knuckled down a little bit and seems to be sort of dicking around so much, man, and dawdling on the ball so much, but he still does do it from time to time, which is very, very frustrating. Quetzalcoatl comments and says, cannot take away from Ronaldo's beautiful volley, though. Yeah, you just have to take your hat off to him. I'm not going to because I've got some sweaty, shocking hair underneath. But you've got to take your hat off to that finishing ability. You know, he is one of the best players ever to have played the game. And he only really needs one opportunity. That's the thing with him. You know, he's adapted his game throughout the years as well. When he was at United, obviously he did play in that advanced role sometimes. But he was all over the place. He was on the wings. You know, he was deeper back sometimes. He's a very, very good player. But he's adapted his game over the years to just be that deadly, pacey finisher, Fox in the box type player, and he does it so well. That ball over the top was a great ball. It should have perhaps been dealt with, but the fact that he's just managed to finish it so easily with that technique, it's really difficult technique to do that, and he's just put it away. That is why he's one of the best. You have to take your hat off to him, and I'm actually glad he scored. Now that we've got the result, now that we've won the game, I do love Ronaldo from his time when he was at United. You know, a lot of people don't like him, arrogant, whatever. I mean, he showed his six-pack after breaking a heart, scoring that goal. You know, you're a prick, Ronaldo. You are. You're a smug prick. You know, not only did you just batter us with a goal there, but you're showing your six-pack, man. You know, it's a bit much. Do you know what I mean? So fair play to him, though. You know, he's obviously worked hard for all of it, being a pro football, the best in the world, and the six-pack. So you've got to respect that. Fair play to him. But I did want to see him, you know, I didn't want to see him play. It's always nice seeing Ronaldo play against Manchester United because of the history there is with the player. But yeah, it's even sweeter when he scores, but they don't win and we get the victory. It's even sweeter when that happens. So I'm absolutely over the moon about that. Mayank Kumar comments and says, Jose was classless, but I loved it. Nice, man. I need to check it out. I see. I miss. Apparently, there's like a Jose taunting Juve, and then it almost getting into a fight video, which I haven't seen at the end of the game there. So, that's classic Jose. He's a bit of a fiery character. This is a man who went up to Tito Villanova and tried to gouge his eye out, mate. Do you know what I mean? May he rest in peace. Jose at times loses it. At times he's a fiery character. And if he's shown it again tonight, but I'd rather him have some passion. I'd rather him be a passionate manager like that, than not, really. We saw Alex Ferguson was a very passionate, fiery character, absolutely, all the time. He kicked the boot at Bex's head and cut him open. He was a fiery, passionate character. Maybe not in the sense of taunting fans. I think he perhaps had a bit more respect than he did hold Manchester United, his role within Manchester United as the manager, with a complete degree of respect. Oh shit, lads and lasses, my phone's about to die. Love you guys. Come on, United. We've battered them. Chuck a like on this video. I've got to go before the battery dies. Subscribe if you're new around here. Send me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff at Mr. Flying Pig HD. I'll see you very soon. This is the Pig. Take it easy. Come on, United. Have some of that, Juventus.